So are you trying to figure out how to make your speaking gigs worth it? Do you feel like you show up and you're not getting the results that you're looking for? I think there are a few things that you can focus on as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, to improve the results that you're getting from those speaking engagements. Hey, I'm Michele Sissom, and I want to welcome you to Entrepreneurs Take Action. And today we're going to focus on just that. How do we make those speaking gigs worth it? There's a couple of things I think that that you need to look at. Number one is, what can you find out about the audience that you're going to speak for? Go to social media. Is there a conversation happening between the audience members? Or if this is a networking event, can you go back and look at previous networking events and how they interacted? What intrigued them? What did they talk about? What did they share? If you know that you're going to be at a particular event speaking and that event happens on a fairly regular basis, maybe you want to go a couple of times before that and get inside the audience and have them get a feel for who you are. And then when you come back as the speaker, then you've got the rapport started to be built with that audience. So that would be one thing I would have you do. The second thing is to really understand what part of your marketing strategy this particular speaking gig is fulfilling, right? So is it lead generation to get people on your list? Do you want to get them into a conversation, a sales conversation, a strategy session, whatever you call that conversation for you? And is it to be able to get them scheduled for that appointment to be able to have a continuing conversation about how you can work together? Once you're clear exactly what it is that you're doing, then you can look at, how do you design the talk? How do you get the outcome? How do you get them to take action on the particular call to action that you are designing, right? The one that you desire. So I want you to look at knowing exactly where this particular talk, whether it's a webinar, an in-person, whatever it is, where does that talk fit into your marketing strategy? Number three, I wanted to talk to you about how do you determine what your call to action should be from your speaking engagement. There's really a couple of things we look at. Number one, we look at how long are you going to be in front of the audience? Is it a 10-minute gig? Is it a 20-minute, a 30-minute, an hour, 2 hours? How long are you going to be in front of this room or on this webinar? If it's 10 to 20 minutes, we want to look at a strategy to have people get a freebie or schedule them for a strategy session. We're not going to sell normally a product or anything with a price point in a 10-minute or 20-minute speaking engagement. If we are looking at 30 to 45 minutes, then yes, maybe you will make an offer. I will tell you, in the majority of 30-minute talks, I would still recommend that you go with a freebie or a strategy session, or both of those, by the way. But when you start to get up above 30 minutes, you can start to look at, maybe there's a price point in the $97 to $597 range, somewhere in there, from $100 to $500, somewhere in that range. If we're looking at an hour long, an hour and a half, 2 hours, then you really can look at how do I, can I make an offer that is a higher price point, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, something in that price range. The second thing you want to look at is how familiar is the audience with you, right? So earlier I said, maybe you're going to be speaking at a networking event. Maybe you go on to this networking event on a regular basis and you are going to now be the speaker. So they have a high level of familiarity, right? But if you've never been in front of this audience before, and remembering that people make buying decisions based on a couple of things. One, emotion, and two is the level of trust. Not only do we want to look at the length of time that you've spent together, but we want to know how familiar is the audience feeling. Do they feel like they really know you? And that's an important piece. And then the third thing is to look at how long you've actually been delivering this talk. So if it's a new talk to you, then I would recommend that you stay in the freebie strategy session conversation. If you've been doing the talk for a while and you've really perfected it, then great, make an offer. Look at selling a product that's $1,000 if you've got an hour with them. So there are the 3 things that we're looking at when we determine the call to action from your talk. 1 is length of time. 2 is how familiar the audience is with you. And 3 is how long you have been doing that particular talk. All right, so I hope that these give you a couple of things that you can look at to help you figure out if this speaking gig is going to be worth it for you, or to actually just take those speaking gigs that you're booking and make them worth it for you. I have something for you, a gift. I have a download of a checklist of these items that we've been talking about today. So you can go to decisiveminds.com/speaking-pays. decisiveminds.com/speaking-pays. And you'll be able to download the checklist that'll help you, number 1, determine what your call to action should be on those talks, but also start to look at how can you be better prepared whenever you're showing up there, from the aspects of not just your content. I know your content's good, but how can you know the audience? How can you build a relationship with them fairly quickly? So this is Michele Sissom saying be decisive, and I'll see you on the next Entrepreneurs Take Action. Bye-bye.